They needed you to be as bitter, jaded, and as insecure as they were. Everything about your glow, outlook, and optimistic disposition was a direct contradiction to the demons of despair they succumbed to for survival. You reflected back something they were too broken to believe in. And they needed to humble your ambitions and force you to look at your stupid little dreams as a statistical improbability. Accepting the devaluation as truth meant that they could continue avoiding their excruciating and monstrous shadow while ensuring that everyone else perceives you as the monster. Because how dare you be different? Hmm? How dare you have the audacity to respond to life's challenges in a way that directly undermines my efforts, that proves that progress and forward momentum, real, true, unshakable progress, is still possible? No. As much as it is within my power, I will create as much chaos as possible and you will never suspect a thing. I will orchestrate and manipulate events and circumstances that end in your demise, that cause you to diminish your stupid little hope with every attempt. I will steal from you and help you look for it. I will infiltrate every friend and professional group and subtly create distasteful, disdainful perceptions and feed off of the group's doubts about you. I will partner with your opposition, forcing your submission because surely, if the majority is against you, you must be the problem. You are the problem. Because that's the way I had to package the picture. I will never admit that what you are is much more precious and complex than I'm comfortable conceding to. I will suffer to the end before I admit that you were my greatest supply. That the same reasons I adored you were the same reasons you became detestable. Over my dead body. My pride will never allow me to admit that I needed you, that I silently depended on you to fill all of my gaps and shoulder the weight of all of my insecurities and all that I'm afraid to show the world. I needed you to shrink and stay small so that I could be seen as strong and superior. So you're damn right you were the scapegoat. Because personal accountability is only something I'm willing to perform. And all you had to do was everything I told you to do, the way I told you to do it, and in the time I needed you to do it in. That was it. That was all. Very simple. We could have totally skipped the silent treatment and my unnecessary obsession with me keeping up with every detail of your life for the rest of my life if you would have only complied. This is the obsession of a deeply disturbed and delusional person with a superiority complex and an inflated sense of ego. When the scapegoat escapes, especially after having built a seemingly secure blind spot off the scapegoat, the real perpetrator becomes naked. They become exposed for who they are. Unless, of course, the perpetrator has found another scapegoat. My heart goes out to innocent children and people that now have to shoulder the role in exchange for a scapegoat that has gotten away. The person will also likely have a disdain or distasteful disposition toward the original scapegoat until they realize they are the new sacrifice, if they ever realize it. And sometimes exposure doesn't happen right away. Sometimes the lingering effects of the painted narrative may prevail for a while. Do not disturb yourself in an attempt to switch out the canvas. The universe moves at the most impeccable time to create the type of circumstances that paves the way for truth to prevail. You refusing to labor for their outsourced shadow work was the beginning of their torture. Imagine ever having to sleep in a bed you made. Tragedy, right? It is a tragedy. Jezebel's worst nightmare is being discovered for the imposter she is. It's people seeing through her illusion of calling evil good and good evil. It is bursting into her room and finding the chest full of all the masks she wears for various occasions. It's anyone with the ability to plainly see that beneath the intimidation, manipulation, and desperation to maintain control is a fearful child that never got what they needed. So they form personas to take what they needed. They cannot afford for you to see the intricate systems and the calculations they need to make to ensure that they aren't the ones on the other end of abandonment, abuse, isolation, and betrayal. It's better that it's you than me, is their motto, and they will go to merciless lengths to make it stick. Make no excuses for the work they willfully chose to ignore. Potential will never outpace pattern dysfunction. 100% of the problems they refuse to deal with will remain. And if your sympathy leads you back into their spaces, you will also share those problems. You do not owe every suffering person access to your solve. Some only want the immediate benefits while having no regard for the root itself. Side note, it was well intended for misogynistic society to specifically reduce and classify this very cold, cutthroat, calculating, manipulating, insecure, envious, narcissistic Jezebel archetype to a hypersexual red lipstick wearing woman that you couldn't trust around your husband. It was always intended to limit your sight that this archetype could definitely be a he, is mostly represented in the leaders of the world as a he. It was to prevent you from actually seeing that Jezebel was a Phoenician princess married to one very timid Jewish king, and she was labeled a whore because she convoluted what was holy by using her authority to import gods and practices that were foreign to the people. Jezebel was more genetically predisposed to steal your empire before your husband. Also, the color wasn't red, it was black, and it was eye makeup used by both sexes. Even when she knew she was about to die, she refused to show any fear or any sign of intimidation. Black eye makeup was to intimidate her adversary. She mocked him to the very end. She was an old, rotten, no good, immature, prideful, narcissistic bitch, up until the point that she was thrown out of the window and left to be eaten by dogs. And she could damn well be a he. The point is, don't even hold your breath for an apology.